What's going on, everybody? Lost in Place here, and welcome to the video. I'm bringing to you a true life story from the life of Lost in Place. Something I wanted to share with you guys. You can either learn something from it, or hell, you're gonna be entertained one way or the other, because this is a damn funny story. But I'm gonna tell you guys about the time that I spent the night in jail. Alright, so I'm flashing back to when I was 21 years old, just turned 21, and man, I was all about that party life at 21, as a lot of you guys are or will be once you turn 21. Pretty exciting to be able to legally go out and get your own booze, though this story has nothing to do with alcohol. This story has to do with the devil grass, marijuana. Well, marijuana, yeah, that's right. Now, these days, marijuana's not a huge deal, right? You know, it's legal in a lot of different states for a lot of different reasons. Hell, in another 10 years, it'll likely be legal all across the country. And I think that's the right thing to do. But when this took place, when I was 21 years old, marijuana was frowned upon. It was the devil lettuce. And a lot of states, especially those in the South, really despise those who partook of the marijuana smokage. So here we are, 21 years old, me and my buddy Jeff. It's a Friday afternoon, and we're coming up with some ideas of something to do for the weekend. And out of nowhere, he came up with a great idea. These good friends of his own a house in Outer Banks, North Carolina. And those of you who don't know, that's on the East Coast in North Carolina. It is basically an island right on the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and it's a very popular tourist town with beach houses, and it's a great place to go. Now, this is off-season, so they normally rent out the house during the season. Well, it was off-season, so they had it vacant. And me and my buddy Jeff, we like to surf. So this is a perfect opportunity. They gave him permission to go down to their house. We could spend the weekend in the house, which was oceanfront. We could do a lot of surfing, do a lot of drinking, do a lot of smoking. Oh, man, it's going to be a fun time. Yeehaw! Oh, we were amped. So this is what we're going to do. So Friday, we start driving from New Jersey to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Now, this is a 10-hour drive. Being young, dumb, and stupid that I was, it seemed like a good idea to be smoking some grass on the way down there. You know, long drive, might as well get high while you're driving. Well, in hindsight, that wasn't probably the best move that we could have made. So here we are, we're about 9.5 hours into our drive. We're baked as fuck. And we're coming up, we're about a half hour away from the beach house. And we're going through this place. At the time, I had no idea where I was, but it turns out I was in Currituck County, North Carolina. Yeehaw! That's right, them good old boys were out in full force. Being a Friday night, they had set up a DUI checkpoint. I think you see where this is going. So here we are, blazing away, driving down the road, listening to Sublime, not a care in the world. And all of a sudden I see all these flashing lights up ahead. Like, what the hell is that, man? What's going on? Well, turns out, yes, it was a DUI checkpoint, and we get pulled over, and it didn't take long. All they said was roll down the windows, took one whiff. Pull over, son. Great. We are fucked. So, long story short, they ended up searching the vehicles and finding massive quantities of marijuana. Now, I shouldn't say massive, because that can mean a lot of different things. We each had a bag of weed, you know, nothing too large, just personal stash. And, yeah, it kind of was, they were actually kind of cool with us, you know. They told us that we need to come with them. They didn't even, like, arrest us and put us in handcuffs, that we just needed to follow them back to the police station, fill out some paperwork. We'd pay a fine and we'd be on our way. Cool, okay, well, I guess North Carolina is kind of progressive, man. I thought that's all it's going to be. All right, great. So we go down to the station, we follow them, we go into the station, and we fill a bunch of paperwork, we get fingerprinted and all that. And they're like, all right, well, the fine is $250 per person, and you can't pay that till tomorrow because the magistrate, it's late at night, you know, it's like midnight or something on Friday. The magistrate won't be until the morning. Oh, okay, sure enough, we'll come back. Like, nope, that's not how it works. You're not leaving. You're gonna spend the night here until the magistrate shows up. And then all of a sudden, the shock hits. The floor drops out from underneath us. We realize this guy's saying we're gonna spend the night in jail. Do we pay this fine? No, you gotta be kidding, man. We're 21 upper class white kids. We don't spend the nights in jail. Well, here in Currituck County, you do. Yeehaw! Well, he didn't say yeehaw, but it was at this point I realized I was fucked. So then we just kind of start panicking a little bit, you know, like never spent a night in jail, never spent a minute in a jail cell before, but here we are about to spend the night, and we asked, you know, hey, is it at least possible that we can spend the night in the same cell, you know? Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Then as they go to bring us to the cells, they say, no, we changed our minds. There are no cells that have room for 2 people, so you're gonna have to spend the night in different cells. Oh my god, and this is it, guys. Lost in Place is going to jail. They bring me to the cell, and again, it's like 12:01 at night, and it's pretty dark. Everybody in the cell is sleeping. It's apparently a 4-man cell with 2 bunk beds, and there's 3 dudes in each bunk already. The only bunk open was the top bunk on the right. So, okay, man, here it goes. You know, I kind of creep in there, and I climb up to the top bunk, and man, it was pretty damn high. It wasn't like your bunk bed's growing up. It seemed like really, really high. So I climbed up into the bunk bed, and I just lay there, and I'm realizing I'm in jail, man. I'm here until who knows when. Oh, man, this is horrible. So eventually I fall asleep. I wake up the next morning, and it's got to be like 6 or 7 in the morning, and man, the timing was horrible, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I had been eating a whole bunch of crap food on the drive to where we were going. My stomach was not cooperating, and I had to take a shit. And this wasn't one of those like, oh, I gotta go, I guess I'll hold it. No, this was like, you gotta go now, or you're gonna go where you're laying. Oh, so here I am in a cell with 3 strange dudes I'd never met before, and I gotta take a shit right next to them. And the way the toilets were, it's not like, you know, a traditional toilet where you get privacy or there's a stall doors, man. The toilet was literally right next to the bunk bed. But I gotta go. So I figure, all right, let's just do it. Let's just jump down and do it. So I jumped down from the top bunk, and again, as I mentioned, it's a lot higher than it looked, and I totally misjudged me jumping down, and as I hit the floor, I kind of fell. I jumped down and landed and fell. Went boom! And the dude next to me rolls over, he's like, oh, you're alright, man? Big old southern accent. Like, yeah, I'm fine. Alright, so I sit on the toilet and I start doing a deed. And I'm not even kidding you when I say the toilet's right here, and he's sleeping right here. There's about 1.5 feet between my ass and his head sleeping. And I took a dump. I did, people. I had to. I really had to go. So yeah, over the course of the next 8 to 10 hours, I think, we basically just sat in the cells. Everybody woke up, and I tried to be friendly, you know. I had a bunch of white hillbilly dudes in there with me, and we're just shooting the shit. And here's this Jersey boy. You know, I don't belong, but thankfully, I guess they were relatively cool, you know, just shot the shit, talking about whatever. They brought us breakfast, and it was one of the worst breakfasts I ever ate. They actually, turns out they get their food from a nursing home down the road that we get the leftovers. And it was all cold. It was cold runny eggs with cold coffee. Man, it was horrible. And there was a little television outside the cell, mounted up on the wall, and we were watching Black Dog with Patrick Swayze. I don't know why I remember that, but that's what was on the TV, and we were watching that movie. And then it comes time, and here we are, you know, mid-afternoon. They finally get around to me, like, all right, you can pay that fine, and we only accept cash. Oh my God, they're just not making this easy for me. Of course we don't have the cash. I gotta hit the ATM. But thankfully, they were chill enough to take me across the street to an ATM in a convenience store. But even that was no picnic, because here I am dressed in orange pajamas, wearing flip-flops and my hands cuffed, and I get escorted by 2 cops into a 7-Eleven or something like that to hit the ATM machine. Imagine that. Imagine seeing Lost in Place like that, huh? Pretty funny. So yeah, I ended up getting the money out. It took another hour or 2 for them to process us, and they finally released us around 6 p.m. that next day. All told, I spent about 17 hours in prison, and it was horrible. It was horrible. It was absolutely terrifying. And I'm thankful to say I haven't revisited a jail cell since that day, and I highly don't recommend it for you guys. You know, listen, I'm no role model here. I ain't perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but if anything, hopefully my story entertains you, or hell, maybe even teaches you a little lesson that if you want to smoke a little wacky tobacco, nothing wrong with that. But don't do it while you're driving. Simple lesson, people. Simple lesson. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like on it. If you want to hear more real life stories like this from yours truly, I'll be happy to share them. But you gotta show a little love in the video, you know what I mean? Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I'm Lost in Place, and I'm out of here.